And we are now live. So just give me a few seconds, real quick.
All right.
I want to thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to Cocktails and Conversation. And today I have a special guest, none other than my man, Calvin Warner. How you doing today, sir?
Good, good. Appreciate you having me.
Oh man, it's definitely a pleasure to have you on this show. I mean, I know I said that we're gonna be on here for like an hour, but honestly, dude, just with me and you talking, we probably gonna be on here for about 2 or 3 hours and don't even know about time right now, man. So
Easy, easy.
so like I said, man, it's definitely a pleasure to be interviewing you. Like I said before, you're like a little brother, so it's like I know a lot of things already about you, but why I have you on this podcast is because there's a lot of guys that that follow in your path that's much younger and just kind of want some directions on how to get to the next level. And because you are a professional and you've played at the highest level for a lot of years, we just want to kind of talk about some of the things that you did and what is it that you can do to stay overseas. But for right now, I want to talk about your younger days when you were like in high school. Um, did you take basketball seriously, honestly?
I believe I did at the time, but
Okay.
being being a grown man now
Uh
and
huh.
how time has passed by, I didn't do a lot of the things that I should have been doing.
Okay.
Um, but like I said, a lot of that come with time.
Yes.
Time and like nowadays it's more trainings, it's YouTube, it's social media. So we didn't have that coming up in
Oh,
in,
yes.
in in our day in the 80s and the 90s when I was younger.
Okay.
So, of course, I don't think we put in the same work. I mean, we were outside a lot, we were playing a lot, we were
Uh-huh.
at the parks a lot, we traveled around a lot to play, but
Okay.
to really say putting in the real work, like the real work that it takes to make it, I
Okay.
can't say that we did that, but that's only because we just didn't know.
Yes. And I mean, also back then versus today's youth, I feel like today's youth has so much distraction, and one of them is video games. You have kids that'll be so in tune with playing video games rather than going out and actually perfecting their game. For you, when you were growing up, I mean, they were probably video games. The quality is not as good as it is now, but how did you distract yourself away from those video games to start trying to make yourself better? I guess it was more like a discipline you had to do.
I got you there. I think I lost connection for a
Okay,
second.
I said, what did you do back then to discipline yourself to make your game a lot better?
I don't want to compare times, but
Okay,
you have to go with the different ages.
okay,
We didn't have as many facilities and stuff back then. We didn't have
okay,
all the video games and stuff like you saying now they have nowadays.
yes,
We didn't have that then to be distractions.
okay,
So, um, it's a lot more things that's out there now. So it wasn't a big deal for us to try to stay into doing our work. Like I said, a lot of stuff we didn't do, we just didn't know.
okay,
It wasn't because we were distracted by doing other things. We just didn't know the correct way of doing things. Like I say, it's different times. Like you got to think, money was different back then.
okay,
So our parents back then probably didn't have the money to buy every type of video game console that was out.
yes,
So that's not a distraction if you can't afford it.
true, okay,
So now it becomes a distraction to the kids that can afford it, that that have other options. Like we didn't have options like that growing up. Like, like we went and played at the parks. It wasn't our parents telling us to go play at the park. Like we wanted to go.
Yes. Okay.
Nowadays, it's kind of like the opposite. You kind of like trying to get them to get out the house and do more things. And like
Exactly.
like I just said, it's different times. Like
Okay.
we were kids at that point, so we really didn't understand it. But like now that we're grown, it's like, was it really like this when I was a kid, or was I just too young to see it and understand it?
I think, let me see. Of course, I think I've been knowing you since you was like 11 years old. I could probably say to myself, honestly, I didn't think you was taking basketball serious because you always like to play and joke, and
Right.
you were
Being a
skinny.
kid.
You probably was about 100 pounds soaking wet, and
Yeah.
of course, during that time it was you and your Donis. But you, to me, your senior year, I felt like I saw a difference in you. I felt like you said, you know what? I think this basketball could be my outlet. And to me, it looked like you started lifting weights, you started getting stronger. Your game just started changing to me in your senior year. What did you think?
Well, I'm gonna take it back before then because it
Okay.
is all about time. But
Okay.
I feel like everyone's senior year sticks out the most on any level you play at because that's
Okay.
your last outing.
Yes.
So that's the last time people see you. That's the last, like you're supposed to be the best of the best when you're in your last years.
Oh, yes.
So um, I felt like you say, I started off slow and I ain't weigh a lot, so I had to get that weight on,
Yes.
and uh, I started progressing a little slower.
Okay.
Um, I didn't hit the all-star level at an early age. So my sophomore year, I was cool. I averaged about 10 and 10, 10 and 8, which
Okay.
was decent numbers. I would say, role playing numbers at that
Yeah.
level.
Okay.
Um, but I was still growing, so like I wasn't a household name. I wasn't anybody that the other
Yes.
teams were looking after. But then
Okay.
I grew. Now my junior year was supposed to kind of be my year, but I was hurt. I got hurt majority of my junior year. I might have played a quarter of the season or whatever.
Okay.
So the year that I was really supposed to produce and have a breakout year, I ended up being injured most of the year. And yeah, I did kind of take it more serious at that point, coming off an injury
Yes.
and starting to think about college choice. And you got to think too, back then, um, we didn't have the social medias and the outings like that. So I
Yeah.
didn't know much about the college levels. I didn't know the difference between D1, D2, D3,
Okay.
JUCO. Uh, I didn't have aspirations for that back then, but just because I didn't know.
Yes.
So I had to work from my summer, from being hurt from a junior, and I signed early, and then going into my senior year. I owe a lot of credit to my assistant coach, one of my teammates, Gavin Berry. His dad was a drill sergeant in the army. He coached us that summer in summer league, so he
Okay.
brought all that military stuff to the
Yes.
team. So
Okay.
it got my body right, got my mind right. I was
Okay.
already starting to lift and get better. I went from benching 190 to 260
Okay.
over the summer, and I just really worked hard because, like I said, I was hurt and I had already came and signed before my senior year, but I didn't know. Well, one of the reasons I signed early, I didn't know how well I was going to bounce back from an injury.
Exactly. So you were like
Uh,
trying to have something to prove at this point with your senior year.
right. So I had already signed,
Okay.
but then everybody started coming around after that. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't mind. I mean, I didn't mind. I still continued to work,
Yes.
and I ended up averaging 20 and 10 as a senior,
Oh, yes.
and doing this and recognition, all American,
Uh huh.
and I got all of my accolades and awards my senior year.
Okay.
Like I say, I think most of it just came from being hurt and
Okay.
trying to bounce back from an injury. And I was just growing too. I got older. You come in your senior year, it's kind of like what are you going to do? It's either now or never. So
There's a lot of
uh,
expectations as well.
right, right.
Exactly.
And then coming from where I came from, I didn't come from a powerhouse school
Yes.
that we were a football school. So we didn't just produce a lot of basketball players or athletes
Hmm.
at that, just send them to college. So I was one of the only ones that went D1 in my time before and after me for the most part. I mean, it's a couple
Yes.
guys that went here and there, but
Okay.
uh, it definitely wasn't easy.
Okay. So now you're out of high school and you go to college. You decided to stay home because, like you said, you signed early. Um, did you feel it was?
I left first. Remember, I
Oh,
went to East
Eastern
Michigan.
Michigan. That's right. That's right. That's right. You went to Eastern Michigan. So, do you feel playing better at home was better, or would you rather stay away from home? Because you have a lot of differences when it comes to Jacksonville. It seems
Uh,
a lot of players leave Jacksonville.
yeah. Well, I don't want to base it off that. My
Okay.
personal experience, I think I did better being away, but I don't think it's necessarily being home nor away. It's more so the program.
Okay.
Um, I like being away more than home because I was at a better program that was
Okay.
suitable for me.
Yes.
Um, like I say, I still made a career out of it, but
Hmm.
coming from Eastern Michigan, I was playing in the MAC, so I
Yeah.
was supposed to, I was supposed to do one more year and try to come out early because of the numbers that I was putting up. But
Yes.
coaching staff got fired, and that was on really one of the reasons I
Uh huh.
transferred. Man, I had like seven different coaches on the staff my first
Wow.
2 years,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's how it is in college. You might have 4 or 5 coaches on
Uh
the
huh.
staff, and 3 of them leave the next year. More coming in. So I had some pretty good coaches around me, but
Okay. You
I
also
guess if
you
I
also play
guess if
with
you want to
Ryan
call it a
Pullum.
little unstable,
You also play with Ryan
say-
Pullum. Ryan. That's how I met Ryan because he played with you.
Ryan Pearlman.
He always talk about Calvin. He always talk about how strong Calvin was.
Yeah, yeah. I got the luxury of getting him when he was a sophomore,
Okay.
and
Okay.
see, the good thing about it is too, man, being away, man, I put up big numbers, and
Uh huh.
it was pretty much my team.
Okay.
So coming in, but even like I say, when you're younger, still, man, you don't really know what a lot of that means. It's just, to me, it was just I was really good.
Okay.
Uh, I was really disciplined, and I
Yes.
worked hard. But still, you're immature at 18, 19 years old. You
Oh
just
yeah.
really don't understand the full gist of the game yet
Oh
at
yeah.
that age.
And then after you left there, you came back home to JU, which you guys had a lot of talent
Yeah,
on your team.
Jacksonville. I came home to Jacksonville University, and
Uh huh.
I don't like to say
Your Wi-Fi. I think I lost you. Having technical difficulties. Bear with me. Let me put this on real quick. Can you hear me, Calvin? Just waiting for him to come back in. Look like I lost him for a moment. Hopefully he tunes back in. Give me a moment. And for those who are tuning in, I definitely appreciate this opportunity that you guys are giving me. And like I said before, if you guys got any questions, uh, you're more than welcome to ask those questions. I can definitely answer those questions for you guys. Give me 1 second. Waiting for him to log back in. He sent him another request. Are you there?
yeah, I'm here. I'm here. My bad.
Give me a second. Let me add you back in real quick. Give me
All right,
1 second. So yeah, you were on the topic about
JU.
Jacksonville University.
Yeah, transferring into JU.
Uh-huh.
I hate to ever say I regret decisions or choices, but it just wasn't the right fit for me. I feel trying to be a professional.
Okay.
It was a cool school. I put up numbers, but um, I had other choices to go to bigger schools, which I felt would have suited my game better and better prepared me for the professional level.
Okay.
Um, so I kind of wish I could turned back the hands of times and went to a better basketball school and
Okay.
for the level that I was on. Like I said, that at that age I was just young and
Mm-hmm.
um, I was feeling myself a little bit, so I felt like it didn't matter what school I went to, I could make it.
Yes.
And it can happen that way, but a lot of other things need to happen for that to work
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
and I mean at that level too, I say it all the time. It's very political. It's not only who you know and what you know. It's about who knows you as well. And
Correct,
coming out
especially at a smaller school.
exactly. So coming out of Jacksonville University, um, were the scouts coming to you, or you had to make a way and make a name for yourself at the next level?
Well, I mean, I had a few scouts,
Oh,
coming after me, and a few agents. I guess I could say it was more so the agents
yes.
that were more present in my life, which um, early on I could say they were doing the work,
Okay.
trying to get me. So like, man, I signed with my first agent probably a week after basketball season, and then
Mm-hmm.
that was probably what, like April, probably by the end of May, I think. I
Okay.
think I signed my first contract. I signed like a couple months early to go to France. So,
Okay.
he set it up that way. But other than that, um, no, I just didn't have them. Like I said, when I transferred, it just wasn't the same. It's coming from a
Yes.
bigger conference where I had more people scouting me, more people in my ear, and coming home into a smaller school. It was like
Yes.
I'm putting up the same type of numbers, but weaker conference.
Okay.
So that stuff means a lot. And at the same time, I be being young,
Uh-huh.
I didn't know the game. Like I
Yes.
didn't know what it takes to be a professional. I didn't know what it takes to get there, who you need to be talking to, what you need to be
Mhm.
doing.
Yes.
Um, I didn't have the coaches in my ear saying this is what you have to be as a player
Okay.
to succeed on the next level, and you got to be working on this and working on that. And like so, I felt like I had to do a lot on my own
Okay.
as far as and then like I said, we got my OGs and the people that I had around here. Like JC James Collins was one of my goats and the player who I always looked up to. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, we're home in the summertime. He was always helping me, giving me tips,
Yes.
um, kicking my butt, getting me ready, and he was showing me the ropes that way.
Okay.
Uh, but it's still a little different when you don't have your everyday people like your
Oh yes.
coaches that's there every day. Like, because of course at that age James was playing in his heyday, so he
Yeah.
was gone. He was gone away and playing ball, so he couldn't mentor me on a daily basis. But
Mm-hmm.
in the summer times, that's where I got all my love and care from them.
Okay.
But at the same time, they're showing me the game. They're working me out and getting me ready like that.
Okay.
But they can't. Everyone doesn't have the people to point
Exactly.
me in the right direction and help me get a job. Then
Yeah.
they can help me and get in my ear and show me what it takes, but they can't physically get me the job. So a lot of stuff like that. I just felt like I did on my own. Got into a lot of camps and just I was talked to a lot of people.
Yes.
So I met a lot of people, just was communicating. So
Uh-huh.
spending a lot of time. I used to train a lot in Atlanta when I was in college.
Okay.
So I met a lot of folks up there. That's a big basketball community. Like
Oh yeah.
like up there in Houston where you at. So
Yeah.
when you got a big basketball community, you meet a lot of folks, and
Mm-hmm.
actually it helped me out a lot, especially when I don't want to call it down and out, but when I was also sitting back waiting on my agents to get me a couple of things. I also
Mm-hmm.
was I'm always reaching out to other people that I know,
Oh
like
yes.
what type of opportunities have you heard about? What do you know? So
Oh yes.
uh,
Communication is key.
right, correct.
And also being around positive people as well. That's also helpful because we can talk about this all day about hanging around the wrong people and heading in the wrong direction. But when you hang around positive people and like yourself, you never was the type to hang with a lot of crowd anyway. Your circle was very small. And I
Right,
think that's another reason why you became so humble.
right.
So let me ask you, when you actually got your first deal and you actually playing overseas, what was that feeling like that first game?
Well, so my very first job, I went to France. So
Okay.
I went to France. I was in a tough situation. I go there. I go a little early, and it's if you're not familiar with overseas, I'm in a situation to where some places in Europe, um, they have some of their players like they work. So when I got there, half the team and stuff, they were working or going to school. So it would be times we would be practicing, and it's only 4 or 5 guys there, and the
Wow.
rest are coming to the other practice. So
Okay.
it wasn't a full on practice, but I feel like they kind of test. And overseas, they kind of test and go off certain things. I feel like they'll
Hmm.
judge you not knowing the full you. Like
Okay.
they may judge you off of playing 2-on-2
Wow.
for 30 minutes and then judge your whole game off that. And it's not right. It's not fair. That's not everyone's game. But
Uh-huh.
coming over there, I was young. So I had that experience like that. I stayed for a couple weeks. It didn't end up working out. They end up sending me or basically kind of trading me to another team.
Okay.
And the other team, so I went there on a day's notice. I
Okay.
remember I went on a Thursday evening. I practiced Thursday evening, practiced Friday morning, and then we had a game, like a preseason game, Friday evening against the team that I just came from.
Okay.
So I played 20 minutes of the game. I had like 19 points in 20 minutes. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I can do this, and that, and that. And then like the
Yes.
next the next day we had a day off, and then they called me and they're like, we want to go with more of a veteran player, and so it was really disturbing to me
Uh-huh.
at that point. So I started to, on my first job, I started to kind of question myself a little bit. Like, can I really do this? Can I really play off the very first job? Like, am I really good enough to do
Yes.
this? And then I just didn't understand the game and how it worked and how it went. I thought I killed, and I probably did play pretty well, but
Uh-huh.
it's a lot of different politics. It's a lot of different things. I've seen guys get cut for no reason, different reasons. I've seen guys average 30 and get cut. It's a lot of things that just come with it.
Yes.
And now that I'm older,
Mm-hmm.
I get what they meant by saying we want to get more of a veteran player. It
Okay.
doesn't mean I'm not good. I can't play, but for what they needed at that time is a more
Uh-huh.
experienced player. And
Exactly.
some people may understand this in the NBA form. Sometimes some teams they need winning now. Like
Yes.
we need winning now. I know you're good, but we don't have a team
Mm-hmm.
to wait to grow. If you take a team like Atlanta or like Minnesota, they've
Uh-huh.
been losing for so long now. They don't need any more losing. Like they don't have time to draft someone this year and hope he gets better in 4 or 5 years. Like
Okay.
they've been losing for 4, 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
We need winning now. So they
Okay.
might give up a young player, and people don't understand why they giving up him. He's good,
Uh-huh.
and they giving him up for a 33-year-old that got
Oh,
2, 3 years left to play
yes.
because it's different things that come with that. We need
Yep.
winning now.
Oh, yeah.
And
And that's just like what you said with the NBA. The NBA is trying to build for the future. These teams need players that can come in and make an impact now. So that's right
correct,
there.
because overseas it's no development. It's no give them a year or two.
Okay.
We need you to perform now, and if you can't, it's a million other players ready to come, and we got. That's how it works. It's
Okay.
not no like overseas. You'll get cut after 3 days
Yeah. Yeah.
if you're not ready, if you're
Uh-huh.
not good enough, or you just don't fit in. Like
Yeah.
I say, these teams they're not going to give you a lot of chance. I mean, you might go to a weak league and they can't afford to get rid of you. They'll keep you around, but for them these strong leagues, man, shoot, they might give you a game, may give
Uh-huh.
you two. It's nothing to get cut after one game if you're not performing.
Exactly.
But like I said, stuff like that, it takes years to understand that. To when you really understand the game and how it's played, then you take yourself out of it. You take your game out of it, and you
Uh-huh.
realize it's not just about me and my performance and how good I am. It's about, I heard early on coming over there, people would tell me sometimes they just like different faces
Yeah.
in Europe. They want different ticket sales. Like
Yeah.
I've been on teams to where I've coming in and they're telling me, you know this player, and I'm like, yeah, I know him. That's my homeboy. Oh yeah. He's an NBA player. This and that. And I'm like, yeah. He played in the league. Okay. They're like, yeah, we're gonna bring him in 3 months. And I'm like, okay, cool. They're like, we're gonna bring him in for the playoffs, but my thing is there. I'm like, well, what about all the guys you got here now?
Yes.
How do you know? How do you know how they're going to be playing? How you know how they're
Mhm.
going to gel going in the playoffs? So they already got in their mind that they're going to cut somebody and bring somebody else in just because of a name or
Oh
just
yeah.
because they played in the NBA. And it's like that's not right a lot of times because it takes time and it takes chemistry
Yes.
on teams. You can't just bring a guy in just because his resume says NBA. Like that
Uh-huh.
means nothing. I
Oh
know
yeah.
a lot of guys in the NBA. It's hard for them overseas, and I know a lot of guys overseas that it's just the opposite. It's different. It's to
Hmm.
me, it's tougher. It's tougher to play overseas in the
It's,
league. It's
it's
just
it's I guess like you said, it's about the right system, you know. And if you're not in the right system, then you're not going to survive. It doesn't matter who you are and what name you hold. It's about winning and following the
correct,
system.
correct.
You
And
know.
and, and even with that too, you can be killing overseas, and
Okay.
the team just not be good.
Oh,
And they got to make changes. They're gonna go to the players first. We're gonna
yes.
make change. We're gonna make change. Sometimes it's not the players. They make change, and it's still the same thing. They losing. All right, next we got to go to the coaches.
Yes.
Then after that, like that's where it ends, though.
Hmm.
That's where it ends. But that's why I always tell people, how my feeling on championships. I think championships are overrated.
Hmm.
Like I don't think that it justifies your career or
Yeah.
who you are and what you've done as a player. You could be a great player. What if you're never on a good team? Then you're never going to
Right.
get a championship.
You're right.
And I say this humbly, and I say this as a champion. Look at that,
Oh, yeah.
right? I'm just saying, right in the middle,
Oh yeah.
right in the middle. That's coming from. I got 17 total. So
Okay.
I'm not saying that from somebody who's never won and saying it's overrated. I'm just saying that, like even with my 17, I would never look at somebody else and be like, I'm better than you because I got 17. That's
Yes.
not what that means. I've been on some really good teams.
Oh yes.
So,
Now, and speaking of being on great teams and also winning championships, along with that, being overseas, you know, you have a lot of guys that don't quite understand overseas, but for you to be overseas, you get treated honestly like someone here in the United States. And the reason I say that is because I want to show something of what you experience overseas. See, some people don't even get this exposure. These are
right,
people that just wants to meet you, wants to get your autograph. That's the same feeling that someone is feeling here in the United States.
right,
And along with that, you know, you're very humble and you're a great person on the court and off the court. And fans love you. Fans love you over there. People love you over here in the United States. That's who you are. And it was meant for you to be at this level. Now, let me ask you, since we're talking about overseas, this is a squad, and I've met Barnes, the guard on this team. What did it
right.
feel like to represent USA?
I mean, it's always a blessing
Okay.
because you're going over there with a different a different vibe, a different title. It's not like playing on a club team. This is kind of like, you're representing the whole USA, and then when we go, we're playing in a big tournament. So we're playing against like we're representing our national team. So we're playing against other teams, other countries, other national teams. So yeah, they look at you. It's not like just playing against another club team. It's like you're playing against the whole country. Of course, we aren't the senior team with all the NBA players, but
Uh-huh.
we still got we still had USA across our chest, and we still had to
Oh yes.
represent. When people see us, it's kind of like, all right, well, when you go out there, it's kind of like you always want to put on a performance. So you always want to be like, oh, well, okay, I understand why he's playing on the USA team, or I understand why he's played. Like that's me wherever I go. I want people to see me, not knowing, be like, I understand why he a pro. I can see
Okay.
it.
Okay.
He's showing, he's doing it.
Uh-huh.
So, man, it's a great feeling. Like I say, and then with me and the ages that I went, I was a little older, so I had a chance to kind of share my experience with the other players, which is always great for me. I just love doing that. Love talking
Oh,
about my journey.
oh yes.
Uh, uh,
And another thing too, with you playing basketball, man, I've witnessed many of bodies that you have caught. You probably done lost count of how many cats that you have dunked on. And I'm sure there's plenty of guys out here that can probably say, man, I've got dunked on by Calvin Warner. I'm serious.
right, right, right.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that man, that's one of my many blessings, man. My athletic ability.
uh-huh. Oh yeah.
But like you say, man, I keep it all. Like I say, I keep it all humble, man, because I know how easily it can be taken away,
oh yes.
and I've seen it happen to other folks. So that's
Okay.
one thing about me. I kind of always just watch and learn and peep other people, peep the game. And even if it's stuff that I'm not involved in, I still just kind of pay attention.
Okay.
Um, all these, even just you playing overseas, but like we talk about the NBA a little bit.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to play in the NBA to have those aspirations or act like it or
Hmm.
just. I tell people my main motto, like I tell everybody, just act professional.
Oh
You don't
yes.
even if you're not, you can act a part. You don't have to be in the NBA to act like a true professional. Just act
Hmm.
like a professional in whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah. I hear guys all the time say things like, man, I'll go and sit on the bench in the NBA for $1 million. This is my thing. If you're a real baller, I don't care who you are, you don't want to just be sitting on the bench because you're making money. If you have the opportunity to go overseas and play basketball and get paid and get paid for what you love to do, I think that's a better outlet for anyone because again, you're a player. You don't want to sit on nobody's bench.
Well, I have mixed feelings about that. Like
Okay.
now, every conversation is different for me, so I would have to ask each individual player, what do you mean by that? Are you content with just sitting on the bench because you're getting money,
Uh-huh.
or are you really like a team player like me? When I say it, I would sit the bench, I would. But I would say it because I come from a different outlet. I'm more of a team player. I would sit the bench if it requires me to sit the bench, just meaning like my game ain't up to par yet. So
Uh-huh.
I just gotta wait my turn. Now it
Okay.
wouldn't be just because of the money. I would sit there on another note because I feel like the development that you would get just being around those players, being out around that facility every day, at some point you're going to grow. And
Yes.
if you don't grow into an NBA player, you still be a player. You just
Yeah.
might not get a lot of time in the NBA. So, yeah, I would sit and wait for my time and pay my dues. If it never comes, then by the time I can get a job in Europe or overseas somewhere, I'll still be looking like an NBA player. I just won't be playing in the NBA. But because
Okay.
I'm practicing and around these guys every day,
Uh-huh.
like I feel like a lot of guys can get there. A lot of guys that aren't in the NBA, if you put them in the chance in the
Hmm.
in their situation and say, look, I'm gonna put you on this team. I'm gonna put you on Houston Rockets, and um, you just got to earn your way. I'm not guaranteeing you no minutes. You might not even really play, but
Hmm.
if you can hoop and train with these dudes every day, the best facilities, the best coaches, best trainers, you
Yes.
can't help but to get better.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't help it. It's just like some of the kids nowadays. I can tell
Hmm.
the difference when I work out some kids. I can tell who's been training and who's not. But a lot of that, some of that comes from everyone don't have the money to
Yeah,
pay somebody to train them.
you're right.
So it's certain situations. Yeah, if you have the opportunity and luxury to be around there, you probably would be better. But that's just the way of life. It don't work like that for everyone.
Oh yes, most definitely. So now, you've been playing basketball professionally for a lot of years overseas, and something
18.
happened that made you become, I won't say a grown man, but you already a grown man. This is your heart. Let's talk a little bit about your daughter.
Yeah, I mean she's 10 now, about to be 11 in
Okay.
June,
Okay.
and yeah, that man, that's it right there, man. Just
That changed your
you know,
life.
I yeah, I guess it did because I guess I had the luxury of starting to fill out my career
Okay.
before I had children. So I didn't have it till I was 30.
Yes.
So um, I got to really experience going overseas and working hard without a lot of the responsibility behind it,
Okay.
uh, which comes back to another thing that sometimes stops a lot of other people um, on the route that they may be going, whether it's working hard or just responsibilities.
Yes.
So like I say, it's a blessing that I got to wait a little bit later on to where I was, into my career a little bit more responsible,
Okay.
more mature, and I was already able to handle things a little bit better at that age.
That's good. That's
And I still got to go through that now, the um, right time, right path for life. So she was my first child, so it's still a lot that I'm still learning. I'm still
oh
getting older, so she'll be a teenager soon. So
oh man. Time
yeah,
flies, huh?
right.
Time flies.
So
Well,
that'll be another lesson for me.
oh yes. And then now, you played overseas. And then sometimes you actually play at home, which gives your family and friends an opportunity to see you play. And the Jacksonville Giants, I was actually a witness at one of the championship games. Let's talk
Yeah.
about how does it feel to play basketball at home?
Man, honestly, man, for me, like I don't really care. Like as long as I'm playing, I
Yeah.
just, I just love the game. So
Okay.
it's a good thing I was able to, be home and play in my off time and in between jobs. That
Okay.
we have a local team here, and also is just happened to be coached by my best friend.
Oh,
So
it's like the best of both worlds, actually.
right. So that's a luxury. It's nothing I ever dreamed of. It just kind of fell into my lap like that, and it gives me the opportunity to continue to play as well. Especially when I had my downtime from overseas.
Okay.
Uh, I still had a job here to where I could stay in shape and continue to play and get
Oh,
championships on top of that.
and then a lot of people don't know. I think you told me you were actually in California. You guys played against old Meta World Peace, and that's him taking that shot. I believe you guys went out there to the West Coast and pretty much beat everybody, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, man, we had a big run. We had a big run. This was last season, about a year ago, last season. So this is my first season here all year without going overseas. But last season I came home early, and right before I got home, like 2 weeks before the season started here, and I told myself I was going to stay home this season and play, and I did. And
Okay.
yeah, we got out there and went to play the San Diego team, San Diego Kings. They were a pretty good team. We beat them good, but
Uh huh.
they were pretty solid. And
Okay.
we had a nice West Coast trip, man. We went to Vegas. We had a couple games. We had a couple games in Cali. So we were going out there about 2 weeks. That was a good experience. It was a nice experience to play against him.
Oh yes.
And, they had a lot of stuff set up for him, and he was a big deal for him. So that was cool. It was cool. It was real cool, real nice
Well, I mean,
experience.
we also know that the Jacksonville Giants always got some of the best players. I mean, so it also helps too to be on a good team. But one thing
Right.
I will
Well,
say, when you got a lot of good players, it's the coach responsibilities to put all these egos in the right place to still win games.
correct. Correct.
So,
It's not an easy task.
no, it's not. So you know what? Actually, I got a little surprise for you. Check this surprise out. Give me 1 second. Let me get this surprise for you real quick. Here it comes. Here it comes. You might like the surprise.
Calvin Warner. What do I think? Number one, Calvin's very humble. He doesn't have to share with everybody his success. He just goes out and does what he does. It's been an impressive 17 plus years that he's been involved in international professional basketball. And that's a testament of his hard work as a youth all the way up through adulthood. In addition to that, very character, professional type guy working with kids in the community. And these are some of the things that I remember most about Calvin.
Hey guys, this is Jerry Williams, Calvin Warner's best friend. I just want to let you guys know that Calvin Warner is such a great guy. He's a great father. He's a great professional. And on top of all that, even after being over the age of 40, he's still a great basketball player. He did a couple dunks the other night in the game, And I was like, wow, like that reminded me when we was in our 20s, the way that he got up and continued to be able to, get to the rim and dunk the ball the way that he did. Kevin Warner is one of those guys that everyone wants on their team. He's such a professional. He's going to stay professional in every single way. And he's always going to be the guy that you want on your team. So for you to have him on your podcast, it's a great accomplishment. And I just like to say congratulations to you. Congratulations to Calvin Warner. And that guy is great. He's going to be a guy that people will talk about for a long, long, long time.
This video was for Rico Davis in regards to my main man, Cal Warner. Cal Warner, a.k.a. Killer Cal. Yo, I met Cal 11th, 12th grade, I want to say. Always a hard worker. Always played the basketball game the right way. Obviously, it shows if you look at his resume, unpack his resume from high school to college, to the professional standards, right? Professional ranks. Just always got after it. Hard worker, dedicated, basketball savant at this stage in the game, I would call him, because his basketball IQ is off the charts. We have a funny little joke, if you will, among our basketball community. When you play with Cal, always have to take the right shot, always have to play the right way, or he will be on you. And I'm older, right? I'm older than Cal. I'm the older statesman. But even when I played with him, it was the rails, don't just do your own thing, right? Stay within the confines of the game. That's Cal in a nutshell, right? Great guy, always does things the right way, and always plays the game the right way. That's Cal in basketball, and again, his resume speaks for itself. In regards to Cal the person, I always say that, your life, art imitates life, right? So the art of basketball imitates Cal's life. He's the same way in life. Great guy, hard-working guy, dedicated guy. If you're his friend, you're his friend. Solid dude. So I understand you're going to be on Rico's podcast, man. I know it's going to be a surprise to your main man, Cole, a.k.a. C Murder, all the way here in the ATL, giving you a shout-out, brother. Just want to tell you, man, proud of you, bro. Keep pushing. Your best is yet to come. Love you, my guy. All right, man. One.
Yo, shout out to Calvin Warner. When we talk about Calvin Warner, we talk about a real professional. I remember Calvin when he was young, coming in the gym at FCCJ, them dusty Converses on. But the next time I saw Calvin a couple years later, he was one of the most electrifying dunkers that I've seen in a long time. Like, he'll dunk it so hard that dust will come out the bottom of the net. I promise you, that's no lie. It's been a pleasure to play with Calvin, to watch him develop, watch him become a real, true professional. I mean, he handled his business all the way across the board, kept him a contract on deck, and he one of the few players that made a career out of basketball from Jacksonville, and that's a hard thing to do. But great ball player, better guy, very soft, gentle. Now he gonna argue with you about his calls from time to time, but Calvin is a beast, monster dude, monster ball player.
Man, that's pretty dope, man.
Yeah, that is, man. I appreciate that, man.
Oh
That's
yeah.
definitely a surprise for
I,
me, man.
I had a few more guys, but I only got an hour show, so it's like I could get, you get the
Right,
point. You know what I'm saying?
right,
But
right,
that's
right.
that's ever since I've known you, man, a lot of people, got a lot of respect for you, man, and even all the little kids, man. Just like I told you before, I'm very proud of you, man. I just watched you from, from a little kid to a grown man now, and you did everything the right way. And for someone to even watch this video, I'm sure that some things in here that you said is going to inspire them to do more as well, even if it's not even basketball, just being a good person. Because as you can see, besides basketball, everybody said everything right about you. And character is everything. And just like you mentioned, sometimes you may have a guy that's overseas, he can put up 30 points, but they want to bring in a veteran. They want to bring in somebody who gets along with other people. All of that plays a role in life.
Right, right.
So, But yeah, man. I know we pushing with time. I'm gonna go ahead and let you tell me first. So what's next for Calvin Warner?
Oh man, I mean, well, currently, I'm still hooping.
Okay.
I'm,
Okay.
I'm still playing, which would probably come to an end soon.
Okay. And you did mention
More,
about coaching. You mentioned something about coaching as well. You doing that kind of like a little bit of
yeah.
it?
So I'm assistant coaching at Providence High School,
Okay.
a high school down here in Jacksonville, and I'm doing that, and I'm just training with kids and adults,
Okay.
anybody pretty much. But I do a lot more training with kids, and
Okay.
so hopefully, I just want to stick along the path to basketball.
Okay.
I don't know exactly where it may lead me now. Things can change.
Yes.
Opportunity could come up here or there, and things change. So, like, who knows? This probably be my last year playing ball.
Hmm.
Who knows if I get another opportunity? I'm just not sure yet. With the COVID and everything, how that's working too.
Yeah.
That slowed a lot of things up for me. So, um, I'm just playing it out right now.
Okay. Okay. So let me ask you our closing remarks. Is there anything that you would like to say to a young man that's trying to play professional basketball? What advice would you give this person?
Man, like I told you before, man, my number one saying is be professional, act
Okay.
professional.
Okay.
Like that to me, like that's a way of life.
Yes.
Like you don't have to be a professional to act professional. You don't have to have your, what I'm saying, like you don't have to have your own business to act like a boss. You can act it, just act.
Okay.
Like set yourself up the right way. Get up, be somewhere on time.
Okay.
You know, just act it until you get it there. Like you're preparing yourself. So when that day comes, it's kind of like being an adult and being a good parent. I don't believe you have to have kids to know how to be a good parent.
Okay.
You can be good to your nieces, your nephews. You can be a good neighbor. Like you can develop these qualities.
Okay.
So when it does come time for you to have your child, you already know a little bit. I done
Yes.
been around kids. I love kids. I know what it takes. I'm already interacting. So it's the same thing about like being professional. I'm already act professional. So now when I go somewhere and I am
Hmm.
playing on the pro level, I already know what it means to be on time. You
Exactly.
know, uh, coach don't have to tell me to work out,
Oh,
or I'm not in great shape. He shouldn't have to tell me to do extra work. Like hold yourself accountable. Act professional, be professional. Like continue to work, just
uh-huh.
work, take care of your body,
Oh, yeah.
uh,
That's definitely
and
important.
right, and just man, just respect the game.
Right.
Just respect the game, and it'll respect you. As soon
Yes.
as you start disrespecting it, like you'll see, like anything could happen, man. It could be injuries, it could be a lack
Oh,
of
yes.
job.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that people take for granted, and then they start to wonder. It's like, oh man, I ain't do it. I ain't do it right. That's why
Yeah.
it ain't coming right.
I see a lot of guys playing basketball, and the guys that I know that have talent, they might be in the gym playing basketball, and I'll always ask them, well, why you do such and such? And they'll say something like, oh, I'm just out here messing around. See, to me, that's actually when you get hurt. Whenever you step on that basketball court, first of all, you don't know who's watching you. And second of all, whenever you step on that basketball court, you have to give your all at all times. That's how I always
See,
feel.
I never did that at a young age because we were just so young
I
and,
know
and,
that. That's why I said
and
you were playing. You was like the kid that just like to play all the time. You were just
yeah, that,
you were just
like
a kid want to have fun.
yeah, that because you got to start being real with yourself when you start making those are excuses when people start giving you, oh, I'm not playing hard, this and that. Like
Yeah.
somebody steal the ball, somebody block your shot. Oh, well, it was because I wasn't playing hard.
Oh yeah.
No, just respect them and say they got the best of you and just go harder the next time instead of
Exactly.
making the excuses because it follows you sometimes and everyone won't go to a team or the
Hmm.
next level where they have a coach or a mentor or OG that's going to tell you,
Hmm.
no, don't do it like that. So
Yeah.
some people are going to go with the plan and they go through their whole life with that same saying, that same plan because they just never been in a situation to be told otherwise.
Yes. Okay.
So, so I get it. I tell people all the time, I get it. Like for some, the YMCA
Mhm.
is their NBA.
Oh yeah.
And I get it. They might not have went to college. They might not have went
Uh-huh.
to school. They haven't been taught. So they know what they know. And for them, it's the why. So, you have to leave it at that level and just leave it there.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Well, man, again, I want to thank you on so many levels, man. I appreciate the opportunity that you came on this podcast and share your experience. And, it's always been a pleasure, man. And, of course, the next time I'm in Florida, I'm going to have to hit you up just like
Already.
whenever you're down here in Houston. I haven't seen you down here in Houston in a while, but
Yeah, 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 yeah. I don't get out of state too much these days.
I know, man. But yeah, so whenever my home is welcome for you, man. So again, I appreciate that, man. And until then, you stay healthy, take care of your family, man, and I love you, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it, man.
All
Love
right.
y'all back.
Bye bye.